AI motion graphics have gotten extremely powerful, but most people still don't know how to use them. They don't know that you can import your own custom assets, create skills, use different styles, and ultimately actually create AI animations that you will use in your video edits. And this is mainly due to the fact that they don't know that code is what creates really good AI animations. And AI agents are now extremely good at writing code. But when people try to design something, the results are typically very bad because they're not adjusting for the new era of AI animations. And again, AI can actually design incredible animations. This, what you're seeing on screen right now, was generated with a single prompt. And so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to give your agents more context so that they get better results, how to build skills full of instructions so that your agents know your exact style, what you like, what you don't like, etc. I'll also show you many different styles that I personally use and where you can find more styles. Of course, we're going to touch on adding your own custom assets, reference images, and so much more. And lastly, I know you've probably heard this a million times, but I'm going to show you how you can prompt AI agents specifically for these animations. So firstly, open up any AI agent that you want, whether that's Claude Code, whether that's Codex, whether that's Evolute, it doesn't matter. All these agents are very powerful nowadays. I'm personally using the Claude desktop app because these are some of the results that Claude actually came up with. Now, for context, this was Fable 5, which was an incredible model, but the US government unfortunately banned it right now. However, the models that we're going to use in this video are still very, very good. So this video is going to be split up into many different stages. Stage 1 is going to be the basic way we create animations, which is just sending off a prompt. This is where most people stop, is just sending a prompt. So I want to show you in ascending order how one animation is going to get exponentially better as we include more and more of these steps throughout the video. For context, this is the prompt on screen right now. You can take it if you want. And of course, I have bypass permissions on, and I'm using the model Opus 4.8. And I'm also going to set it to ultra code, which is way too overkill, I'll be honest. But I want to just show you that no matter the reasoning effort, no matter the model we use, if we don't add our own assets, if we don't add our own styles, if we don't do all the things I'm going to show you in this video, the final result just will not be as good as it can be. That's why I'm going absolutely overkill and I just put it onto ultra code, which is going to spawn multiple different agents basically to actually create this animation. So while that's rendering, let me actually explain what Hyperframes is, because if you've seen in the prompt over here, I specified that I want a 20-second Hyperframes animation. So what is Hyperframes and why are we using this? Basically, Hyperframes is a rendering engine that turns web pages into animations, because as I mentioned earlier, AI agents are extremely good at writing code. They're extremely good at writing websites. So we're using AI agents at what they're best at, but then just turning the result that they output into an animation. It's honestly a really genius technology. So it uses HTML code, which is code for kind of websites, which have been around for so many years. And because they've been around for so many years, all this code is already in the AI agent's training data, meaning there's already knowledge, techniques, and so much data on HTML code, which is one of the most important factors for AI agents, is the data that they train on. And by the way, you might be wondering, why am I using Hyperframes inside of Claude Code? Well, you don't have to, as I said a while ago, but I just like the user interface of Claude Code. I like how easy it is to work with. The main issue I have with using it inside of Claude Code is the fact that there's not that much granular control. And I know that there is such a thing as Hyperframes Inspector. I did make a whole video on this, but the reason I'm just keeping it inside of Claude Code is because it's just the most straightforward. There's no excuses for you not to just load up Claude Code, type in one prompt and get it running instantly. Later, I'll show you how you can actually have granular control over your AI motion graphics, because sometimes you might not want to prompt an AI agent to change the color of one asset. Okay, and so we have our animation. As you can see, it's just a HTML on the right, but if I scroll down, I see there's an MP4, which I can click on, and looking at it, it's okay. I mean, I did write an okay prompt telling it to use the Apple style glass morphism and then click on Claude. It opens up Claude. It is still nice. I'm not going to lie. This is what I mean. Like, AI animations are actually pretty good. I know there's going to be haters saying, oh, this is terrible. How can you call this nice? This is sick. AI wrote this. I wrote one prompt and created this. I mean, I can't hate on this. So I do think this is nice already. But as I said, this is just the start. This is where most people stop. And this is where most people assume the AI ends at. It's absolutely not the case though. So now what I did is I just wrote npm run dev. And because we have the Hyperframes skill loaded in, it read the skill, and in localhost, meaning on my own computer basically, it ran Hyperframes Inspector, the thing I was telling you a minute ago. And as you can see, I can preview my entire animation. There's a nice little timeline. But the main reason I want to use this is for all the steps that I'm going to show you in this video. And the first step is going to be adding our own custom asset. So I'm going to drag in this MP4 file and just say change the background to this one, because the current background that we have, it's just a couple of colors. And so if we want our AI animations to feel customized, if we want to give them our own touch, we got to add our own personality to it, our own unique design. And so I have this asset right here, which is just a random background I, again, created with AI. And we're going to just replace the a background because it's literally just one prompt. And by the way, this background was generated entirely with AI on Dance 2.0. And so this is how you can start upskilling yourself and multi-stacking all these AI tools. Like I have so many images generated on Midjourney that can also be turned into videos that I can use for backgrounds, that I can use for assets. And then I include these in my AI animations. A quick tip from Midjourney, you might look at my prompts and be like, what is this prompt? But that's because all I do here is I attach a style and then just add a very basic prompt because that creates really good images. And so that's why I tried to do the same thing for AI animations by just adding a style, and it kind of works the same way. When you attach a style, the AI just understands the kind of context and the direction that you want to take your animation in, and it acts accordingly and creates the animation in that specific style. So anyway, I'm also going to say to change the speed of it so that it's 20 seconds long, because the duration of this animation was only 15 seconds. But since I'm talking to a smart AI agent, it'll be able to just figure it out on its own how to extend the duration. I don't need to go off and recreate this animation from scratch. I can just tell it to customize it, trim it down, make it longer, change the color to green, whatever you want. You don't have to recreate these animations from scratch. So as you can see, to make it exactly 20 seconds, it's just going to slow it down, and it's also going to scale it to 1080p. So now it retimed it, but it noticed it's 19.97 seconds, not 20. So it's going to adjust it one more time. And now it has it at exactly 20 seconds. This is what I love about these agents. You just tell it what to do and it just does it for you. The bottleneck right now is mainly in the people actually using the agents. They just don't know what they're capable of and how to actually squeeze the most out of them. And especially once you get more and more powerful agents like Fable 5 that recently dropped. Like it's not just one use case that these agents are better at. They're better at every use case, whether it's trying to understand a complicated concept, write some code, create AI animations, or fix bugs like the one we're seeing right now, because it just says that localhost is refusing to connect. So I'm just going to say I can't see the preview. This might be a simple fix on my end, but like I don't really care. I'm just going to tell the agent to figure it out. There you go. It just said that the preview server has died. And so now we have our animation with the new background. And again, this is just the first step, is just adding your own custom asset. But already you can see that this is different than every AI animation out there because we had that unique touch to it, our own customizability. This is how you're going to differentiate. This is the main takeaway I want you to get from this video, is adding your own unique twists, such as this image that I'm going to add next, to further adjust the animation to how I want. But you might be wondering, where do I get these images? This is the complicated part. Where do I get these images? How do I create these assets? And don't worry, I'll show you that later in the video because that's exactly what this video is for. Now we're moving on to styles, which is basically phase 2. Because even though I specified Apple Morphic Glass style in the original prompt, it still didn't come out exactly like I wanted. And so I told the agent to analyze this image and the style, do a web search to find out how to build quality animations like this with the exact look, and once it's done, change the animation style. So once that's ready, I'm just going to send off this prompt. And by the way, while I was generating, I want to show you some cool AI motion graphics that I generated with Fable 5 when it was out, because this is what inspired me to even make this video. Like this Fable 5 is absolutely insane in motion graphics, so I cannot wait till this comes back out. Like here's a cool example. I mean, even if you don't think this is cool, I really don't care. This is sick. Like all these different shapes, like the collisions of atoms. Yeah, that's just one example. We also have like many different styles, gravity and fire, whatever this means. We have a planet with some sort of ring orbiting it. We have Saturn with some sort of moon. Here we have a side-by-side, by the way, of remotion, which is the thing I mentioned earlier, and hyperframes, kind of visualizing a neural network. But yeah, if you're curious, Evolute is my app, basically, which I created just to actually have more granular control over your AI motion graphics. So I included a bunch of different styles. Of course, this nice UI. I included the ability to use remotion, hyperframes, or both. You can also attach your own skills to this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is a lot of the steps that I'm going to show you in this video, you can just do kind of automatically here in Evolute, like the prompts that I'll show you later, how to actually set them up correctly. You can just click on this enhance button right here, and it's actually going to use the right skills, and it has an optimized system prompt for creating AI motion graphics specifically. Now, if your prompt is too vague, I told it to ask more questions to the user, because this, as I said, is one of the most important aspects of creating AI motion graphics, the creative input and the direction that you choose. So what is the direction? I'm just going to say satisfying physics loop. The visual mood, I'm just going to do dark and dramatic, and what kind of glass surface, we can just do cracking on impact. And then let's just click on enhance. And as you can see, we have an optimized prompt with multiple scenes for creating an animation. So I'm going to send it off and let Hyperframes do his thing. And maybe we'll come back to it later, but let's get back on track and let me actually continue with the animation that we're building here. So as you can see, we have a much more refined glass morphic style box kind of like we requested. Now, one note I had is that the morphic glass in the reference image looks a lot more transparent and more like actual glass. So do your best to match it as closely as possible. Don't be afraid to give these agents revisions. Kind of like you would with a regular, normal, real-life editor, you give them revisions so that they learn your style. The more revisions and more skills you add to the editor at the start, the better they will be optimized to what it is that you actually want. So we'll get into skills in just a moment. But my point is the planning, the preparation, and the groundwork is in your direction. If something didn't work out, explain what exactly didn't work out. So for our specific use case here, it was just the fact that this isn't transparent enough. Because here's the reference image one more time, and you can see on screen that is what we got. So we need to match the reference image a bit better. Okay, I think it's done. And as you can see, it done just exactly that. Now this animation is even better. And also, if you haven't noticed, I didn't want to bore you with the same step, but I basically attached more logos to customize this even more. So you can see the Spotify logo, Chrome logo, After Effects, Instagram, Figma. But anyway, I do like how this animation is looking right now. I think it's looking much better than before. But as I said, we're still not done. We still have more phases to get through. However, if you notice, the Claude terminal logo is still in the same old style because I didn't specify to change it. So now we're going to tell it to basically change the style of the Claude terminal. I'm going to speed run this step because I don't want to be doing redundant steps over and over, but this is kind of how you actually create these good AI animations. You do need to be specific for now, and you do need to kind of set your point to these agents of what it is that you want, but you're setting yourself up for the future of agentic video editing. The faster you learn this skill, the better you will get, the more skills you will have, the better understanding you will have with all the different tools that I'm showing you, all the different use cases, all the connections you can make with all the other tools. You're setting yourself up for the future. You are going to be a 10x editor, as I like to call it, because I don't think AI is going to completely replace all editors. I think AI is going to give the top 1% of editors the chance to become a 10x editor and basically take over all the other clients. So if you made it this far and you actually found any of these tips valuable, I highly suggest that you just subscribe to this channel, because 90% of you guys are not subscribed to this channel that watch. So if you think you're subscribed, just scroll down a little bit and double check, because it helps out way more than you think. So if you did just subscribe, thank you very much. Okay, we have our generation ready. Let's see. Nice. This looks way more on brand. This looks way more stylish. And it actually is transparent because we can see the background video is consistent with the rest. It's not just regenerating some background video. Now, a few of the logos are still a bit misaligned, like the Chrome logo is wrong, Spotify logo, etc. Because earlier I just basically told it to browse the web and try find these logos and import them. But now, since some of them didn't work out the way I wanted them to, like the After Effects looks good, for example, but the Chrome is like some outdated Chrome logo. I'm just going to upload my own custom assets and tell it to replace those. I've also attached a new mouse cursor icon, which I told it in the prompt, because keep in mind, every asset can be changed, not just like logos and stuff. The cursor that is used, the background, the texts, the fonts, the colors, the effects like the glows or the blurs, whatever you want can be changed. And again, for the cursor, I'm telling it that I wanted to restyle it to match the other morphic glass look as everything else. Okay, our animation is ready. Let's see. So the cursor, way nicer cursor. And also, of course, all the logos are updated to the ones that we actually wanted. Already this animation is looking much better to start. If we can pop up a visual right here showcasing what the animation looked like at the start and what it looks like now, there's been so many improvements. And again, we're about like halfway into the video, maybe 2/3 into the video. We still have more ways that you can actually upgrade these AI animations that most people don't even attempt. And I'm going to show you those ways in just a second, but I do want to say that this animation is now finished. And as you can see, this is our bouncing ball animation. But one thing I noticed about this is that the ball is pretty invisible. So what I'm going to do is go to the workspace editor. And this is essentially how you can add granular control to your animation. I already done this, but unfortunately, I forgot to start recording. So yeah, what I done basically is I changed the color to green so that the ball is more visible. I went over here, I dragged and dropped the glow onto this and then increased the intensity of the glow. And also the reflection of the shadow, the sphere shadow, I keyframed it so that it actually matches, because without the keyframes, it was basically all over the place. I think I also mentioned that I would like the ability for you to be able to add whatever effect it is that you actually want to add over here by just having a little prompt box and saying, I want to have, I don't know, a mosaic effect or something. And then that gets created and then you can just drag and drop it and you have that saved in your own personal workflow, because I think that that's how every editor wants it. They want their own optimized workflow with their own optimized features. They don't want to be bloated with features. So let me know if that's something you want and if that's something that you'd actually use. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm noticing here that the rectangle basically just is already spawned in. So I'm going to take a screenshot to give more context on the exact frame that I want to customize. And I'm going to import that screenshot into the chat and specify that at the start, there shouldn't be any shape and the mouse cursor should click on the empty background at the spot where the top left corner of the shape will start. These are the tweaks that you need to make, and in a moment I'll explain why creating these is so important, because we're going to be able to actually turn these into skills, which I guess I can just explain while this runs, because a skill is essentially a folder with one plain English instructions file inside, like so. There's no code, no plugins, just steps that Claude reads and follows. So you can create a skill with the instructions on how to build quality animations, but it doesn't need to be this generic. Or you can use specific skills like GSAP, for example, for creating nice timelines, easing, or plugins, whatever it is. Like GSAP is a cool one actually. It's essentially creating these JavaScript style animations over here that you can see on screen right now. So attaching this as a skill will obviously have tremendous value for our AI motion graphics. And so creating your own custom skills is where the value is. You might be able to see now why this is so valuable. Your entire context of your chat history that you just created can be turned into a skill by just telling Claude, turn this entire chat history into a skill. All my preferences, all the styles I like, the way I like my animations to be created, everything. This way you're saving yourself time up front. Even though we're making so many granular small little tweaks here that might seem, annoying and time wasting, we're setting ourselves up for the future, guys. We're setting ourselves up to be agentic engineers, not just someone who's trying to completely outsource his work to AI, but someone who's trying to optimize his entire workflow to edit 10 times faster. I truly believe that the top 10% of editors are going to just completely steal all other clients from every other editor. Like, think about it. If you can trim videos, create AI motion graphics, use custom B-roll, and basically edit 10 times faster, why wouldn't you just take 10 times more clients? I think it's inevitable, because I think there's people out there in the world that just completely grind and want the best for themselves. And so whether or not you adapt to this new wave, it's completely up to you. I'm not saying it's going to happen now or in the next month, but in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, there's a big shift happening, and most editors are just not ready for this big shift. So that's why something like this is important. As you have seen already, we have increased the quality of this animation a lot, and there's still more to come. So now the cursor goes up here, clicks on the empty square, does that nicely, but it's too fast, it's too jagged. I want it to be a bit smoother. I want it to use ease in, ease out kind of keyframes. So I'm going to specify that in the prompt, because this is the advantage that we as editors have, is that we have more terminology about editing. Yeah, you can say make it smoother, make it slower, faster, whatever, but like specific editing terms like ease in and ease out are very good to explain, because this gives you the unique advantage that most people don't have. So if you are an actual editor, this is your advantage, so take advantage of your advantage. So let's check out this animation now. So smooth, so smooth. Once again, if we can pop up on screen right now, just the two animations, just the one little tweak that we made via a simple prompt, you can understand why I do believe in AI motion graphics so much. So let me do the same thing for this typing animation, because when we click on the Claude app, it pops up the terminal and it starts typing. It's a bit off. The square is like too far off. It's not smooth and it's not following the text. So once again, let's specify that so that we can add it to our skill. And I'm always going to take a screenshot of exactly where it is that I want to actually customize. So I did just that, pasted it in chat and asked for the change I want. And so now when it clicks on the Claude logo, it opens it up, and it's much smoother. The box is actually following the text. It was just one prompt. And speaking of prompts, most people are very intimidated by them. They don't know how to actually prompt correctly, but it's very simple. You basically type in what you want in the simplest way you could imagine. But what I recommend is using something like Super Whisper, for example, or Whisper Flow, whatever, which allows you to dictate your speech so that you can type way faster. And when you are actually prompting these agents, assume that they don't know what's going on. Assume like it's a new person that just came and you're trying to explain to him what it is that needs to be changed. Assume you're talking to person. I see so many people prompting completely wrong because they don't give enough context. It's not about these like super refined tweaks of the prompt that you need to make. It's just about giving it the clearest possible description. These models are insanely powerful now. So what makes the difference are the details. The more things you include, the better the result, typically, generally speaking. Instead of just saying 10-second animation, you can, of course, specify the duration, the exact assets, the details. That's the kind of thing you need to do. And so here is a real example of a simple prompt of a 10-second animation of a terminal popping in, clean, dark, whatever, text typing in. That's fine. But this is a more detailed one. 12-second animation of a Claude Code terminal workflow that slides up from the bottom socket. You can see that this is obviously going to get a much better result. So what if you cannot write these detailed prompts? Well, that's exactly what I have in Evolute and why I optimize this so much, so that you don't need to actually even do a detailed prompt. As long as you don't need something super specific, like, I don't know, you're making company visuals and you need exact motion speeds and timings, whatever. Like if you're just doing YouTube videos, for example, this is more than enough. Just type in whatever prompt you want, click on the enhance feature, and it's going to enhance it like I already mentioned earlier in the video. So now I'm going to do one more tweak, which is going to be another screenshot of these logos right here, this little box. I'm just going to say to basically add some sort of feather because the start and the end looks a little bit rough. And as you can see, once again, these are the little changes that you can make. It looks much smoother now. Already discussed assets, but where do you get these animated backgrounds or these SVGs or these icons? And yes, you can add 3D models into your AI motion graphics as well. It's pretty sick. Well, all of these you can actually generate with AI, whether that's Meshy, whether that's Blender via the MCP, which I made a video on, whether that's Higgsfield, Gemini, Nano Banana, whatever it is, you can use other AI tools to create these assets to then import them into your videos. So again, I think I covered basically most of these on my YouTube channel in my YouTube videos. So if you want to see how to do that, either just click on my channel or just follow along to the next video that you're going to see on screen right now, which will teach you more about AI video editing. I'll see you there.